we'd be in there 8 hours nonstop.
Yeah.
And as soon as we looking at the clock, like, man, it's 10 minutes to go. I know he's not going to ask us to go back from the top.
Oh, you're doing it again.
And the show is 45 minutes, but it's 10 minutes remaining from the top.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to That R&B Kit. I am Sakina Lestage.
And I am Q Parker.
And this is That R&B Kit, where we walk it,
we talk it,
we live it,
and we stay carrying
that R&B Kit everywhere.
Know what I'm talking about? Yo, what's going on with you today?
What is going on with me today? Well, Q, you're looking at a woman in love.
Don't do it.
Why we got to start the show off with all this? I won't even call it hate, because I know you don't hate on your sister.
Never that. That's not in the kit.
That's not in the kit.
Hating is not in the kit.
Oh, no, we ain't gonna put that in the
hating.
kit. Yeah, no, I'm in love. For real.
Looks good on you.
Thank you.
Looks good on you.
You know what I'm
Smiling and stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
Whoever you're in love with, he on that R&B kit.
He is
heavy.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
If he could sing, he would. He was singing just like that. What's going on with you, though?
I'm in a good space too. I got a grandbaby, yo, and I'm just like, I'm loving, man. It just hits different when you are a grandparent. Like I now understand why we all love Big Mama and Grandpa and all of that, because he is, when I tell you, the love of my life. So big shout out to my grandson Leo Alexander Boone. So I try to be like the cool grandpa, right? So I don't go by grandpa, G-Pa, and none of that. He calls me GP.
That is so cute.
So that's my heart.
That is so cute. I love that. So that means that being a parent was kind of like rehearsal for being a grandparent. What?
See what you did there. I see what you did
like
there.
That. Come on. Yes.
So hold on. So is that the topic today?
Yes, the topic today.
What tool we pulling out the kit?
The tool in the kit today is rehearsal. So that is a big one. That's huge.
Rehearsal. So when what's the first thing that comes to mind when, I mean, you being a creative director, a choreographer, you teach artists how to move. You teach us how to dance, how to perform, and how to be confident on stage. And so to the listeners, define rehearsal. Well,
so for me, I feel like rehearsal is setting the tone. And so that people think, oh, I'm rehearsing, so I'm working on my steps, I'm working on my vocals, and those things are true. But bigger than that is setting the tone as an artist about how you want your stuff to run. So when you step foot in that room, how you look, the respect level that you expect people to have for you, how tardy you are or how timely you are, how fidgety you are. If you feel like you can't sit down, you can't sit still, it's like everyone's going to have something else that they're doing. So rehearsal to me means setting the tone, practicing, and preparing.
Practice? We talking about practice? Not the game. We talking practice? Shout out to AI, yo. What up, Chuck? When I think of rehearsal, the word that comes to my mind is it's the shaper. It shapes and it forms us into who we're going to be as a performer.
Love that.
And as an artist.
Yeah.
Because what you do on stage didn't just come out of the blue.
For sure.
Sometimes you can do stuff off the cuff.
For sure.
However, when we're on the main stage and when the lights are on, we should now be perfecting what we rehearsed and what we practiced.
Right.
And for those artists that are listening, there's no way you can accumulate the accolades, get all of the awards, be on these big shows if you are not rehearsing. Like you can't go from here, jump over the bridge, and now you're over there. No, you have to cross it. And crossing the bridge a lot of times comes through rehearsal.
Right.
I can remember, man. So the reason why our podcast is so important is because, yes, we have the information, we have the knowledge, but we like to share real life experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I can tell you there's somebody watching us right now that feels like I felt in the beginning.
For sure.
Had no clue what this industry was going to have me to do. I felt like because I could sing and I had a talent that I was just going to go in the studio
and then go on the stage,
go on stage, and then we rich, right?
Yeah, that's what they are. That's what everybody thinks.
However, I'm going to constantly mention Divine, Kevin, Courtney, all of those, Al Jamal, AJ, because they were so instrumental in my growth and development.
For sure.
Without those guys, I don't know who I nor my group would have become as performers. I remember hours and hours. And the one thing Kevin and Divine would always say was, if you're not practicing, somebody else is.
Right.
If you're not practicing, somebody else is. And see, when we came out, it was so many R&B male groups. It was a lot of traffic on the streets. And so if you wasn't rehearsing or practicing, that was going to give you your leg up, because we eventually embodied the idea that you were not going to outwork us. And you were not practicing as hard as we were. You were not practicing as long as we were. Your practices were not as intense as ours were. And there were many times where we'd be in there 8 hours nonstop. And as soon as we looking at the clock, like, man, it's 10 minutes to go, I know he's not going to ask us to go back from the top.
Oh, you're doing it again.
And the show is 45 minutes, but it's 10 minutes remaining from the top.
Yeah, because we're not done.
We're not done.
Rehearsal, is such a process, even for the creators, not just the artists, but it's also about making sure as the creator that your artist is ready and comfortable. And so sometimes where the artist is saying, oh, we only got 10 minutes, as the person that's in front, as a creative director, as a choreographer, we're looking at it like, yeah, but you're not gonna be ready in 10 minutes, and you're gonna come back with this trash tomorrow. So nope, from the top. And you might get to the end of that 45 minutes and we from the top again. Because we still not there. And we're not gonna leave in a position where tomorrow we gotta do this same rehearsal again. Tomorrow we gotta come back better to the next rehearsal.
And add to
where we left off.
I remember cats would get so upset if we went over something on Monday and then Tuesday having to go back over what we did.
Let me tell you something.
Monday.
I tell artists all the time, I'm not about to do it twice. I'm going to show you once. Not like I'm not going to show, but it's one thing to come back with questions. It's a whole nother thing to come back and you haven't retained what we did in the rehearsal. So when I was a dancer, I was dancing for Neo. And I remember I got the job. I was so excited to get the job. And Jamaica Crab, shout out to Jamaica Crab, one of the best to ever do it. I had been asking her, I want to do Neo. And she was like, you're not ready. So finally I was ready. And I get the schedule for the rehearsals. And I see on the schedule, it said 18 hours. I'm like, this must be a typo. Clearly. Who's rehearsing for 18 hours? And so I'm calling one of the other girls is it 18-hour rehearsal? She was like, oh yeah, girl, it's 18 hours. And she was like, you see on there, it's got 2 breaks, a lunch, a dinner break. And I'm like, oh, but let me tell you, once I got in that rehearsal and I understood the value and what we were doing and why we were in there like that and how the band was involved and the DJ was involved and all the different pieces of the rehearsal and how Neo would come in and set the tone of how he wanted to rehearse. And then knowing okay, when the artist walks in, we got to elevate. And then when management come in, we got to all, you know what I'm saying? We used to have this thing Cole Brown that just meant the management about to come in. We got to turn it up a notch. It would be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Joe Clark.
Oh God.
Put the chains on the doors.
Not chains on the doors.
Go
But yeah, I think rehearsal is, practice, rehearsal, whatever you call it. It is an opportunity for you to feel all the feelings before getting in front of that audience and giving away all the feelings.
I heard this quote it said, practice like it's the game. Practice like it's the game, so when you're in the game, it feels like practice.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
And to break that down, rehearsal is a key component, and so we want you artists, we want you to not just be so enamored with the end result.
Right.
We always talk about how the journey is what expands you. The journey is really when you grow.
Right.
If you can fall in love with rehearsing and practicing, you're going to love the performance.
Man, I got an opportunity to work with Johnny Gill a few years ago. And so I'm rehearsing the dancers, all of that. And then we get to the rehearsal. And when I tell you this man was singing in the rehearsal, I felt like I should have paid for this. Yeah. Like I should have paid money to be at the rehearsal because of how he was singing them records. And I mean, it just took me back to being a kid and like listening to those records. And I thought, man, if I could get every new artist to just be able to sit in this rehearsal, so you could see how this man is like full vocal, full performance, like in the rehearsal. I felt like obviously I'm a fan of his music, all of that, but I was at work and I felt like a fan.
And how long ago was this?
Well, this wasn't that long ago, maybe 6 years ago.
So that means
he was
even after 30 plus years.
Oh yeah.
He's still going hard.
Very hard.
Because here's the thing. If I am just haphazardly going through rehearsal, there are very few that can go half in rehearsal and then go 100.
Yeah.
You have to be like really seasoned, been doing this for a while, and then I still wouldn't advise it.
Yeah.
The goal is to get you to be at 1,000 at your rehearsals, so that when you get on the stage, you don't have to get yourself hyped.
Yeah. You
don't have to drink 5 Red Bulls to get the energy.
Yeah.
Because you're basically on Saturday night, which is the concert, feels like Monday when we were just rehearsing. And so the challenge that I'm going to send out to everybody as we're going through our topics today is fall in love with practicing. I remember when we would rehearse, it made us feel good because every day we would rehearse, we'd discover something new.
That's so important.
We would discover something new every rehearsal, which means if we harmonize this particular note this way, tomorrow we may hear something different to add to what we did on yesterday.
Right.
So by the time it got time for the performance, we had perfected it.
Yeah.
And it was like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And we as patrons, audience members, consumers, what's up, y'all? I am Q Parker, and I am so excited to announce the Q Parker Summer Music Camp. This is a interactive camp we are calling all vocalists and producers between the ages of 13 to 17. If this is you, I need your attention right now. The subjects we will be tackling during this 2-week summer camp is songwriting, music business 101, intro to orchestra, performance, voice, and production, and recording. Now, I need y'all to go right now, qparkersummermusiccamp.com, and send in your audition as well as register. Limited spaces available, so I need y'all to go right now. The Q Parker Summer Music Camp. I cannot wait to see y'all. We can tell, the audience can tell when you've put man hours in rehearsal. We can immediately look at something and say, oh, they just threw that together.
Yeah.
It just looks like they just...
just didn't care about their fans enough to rehearse. Yeah, that's a big one. I think that another thing is, you said like all of the hours. It's as artists, you guys set the tone for how your team shows up too, right? So as a creative director, choreographer, even with Johnny Gill, I was choreographing. I wasn't dancing on that job. I was choreographing, and I could see how all of the moving parts, the dancers, the band, everybody was responding to the level of professionalism that he brought to the room, and the same is true for artists that show up late. The same is true for artists that play around the whole time, that aren't prepared, that, they're drinking in their rehearsals or whatever. It's like, your team is going to start to respond to that. That musician that is so dope on everybody else's set, he's not going to be as dope on your set because you haven't demanded that level of respect and quality in the rehearsal. You really set the tone as the artist for, Everybody, hear me when I tell you this. When you go to rehearsal, your entire team is going to follow suit. And when you see them doing different things on different jobs, it's going to be based on your actions in your rehearsals, how they show up in your rehearsals. Everybody, from management to the band to the dancers, everybody, the PR, they're all watching how you respect your own craft. So that's why rehearsal is so important. Practice is so important.
Yeah. And we talk about when you hear the word rehearsal, the first thing you think about is rehearsing your gift. If I'm a vocalist, I need to be singing all the time. If I'm a dancer, I need to dance all the time. But rehearsal is so broad. Practicing is so broad because you mentioned practice being on time. Practice, being punctual is absolutely very, very, very important. And very, very nice. Practice being kind. Rehearse accepting compliments.
And awards.
Go
ahead and put yourself in the energy of.
Rehearsal does not stop at just the gift part of being an artist. Right.
I think it's like, what's the term? Like, stay ready. So you don't
stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
Right. But I just had a friend of mine, shout out to Jana Tompkins, who is currently on stage with Usher in Vegas doing the residency. She just did an interview where she said, everybody says that, but what about the getting ready part? We have to focus on that too. The getting ready is the rehearsal. You can't stay somewhere you haven't gotten to yet. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that.
No. Look in your camera and say that again.
You cannot stay somewhere that you haven't gotten to yet. Big facts.
Bars.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jana. I can't say that I take credit for it, but I did receive it.
But next time it's going to say, like I say all the time.
What you say all the time?
No, I'm saying that's how you gonna say it next time.
Like I say all the time.
Yeah. I tell people all the time.
Not like I say all the time. Like I say all the time that I took from my friend.
Give her credit today.
But next time, because I'm gonna keep saying it. Yeah, it's part of my vocabulary now. But yeah, so she was just saying how the getting ready is so important because how you get ready is how you essentially will stay ready. You know what I'm saying? So we can't skip over the getting ready part. We can't skip over the training, the rehearsal, the being on time, the having the media training as a part of it. Like you can't skip past that part. That's how you stay ready. So in your mind, what do you feel like is it stay ready versus get ready? What's you feel like is like your thing?
So I say a statement that's kind of similar to that. And I say I always keep a clean set of vocals in my back pocket. That means at any given moment, I can just
go ahead and do it then.
Whatever.
Faster, go.
Rock me tonight for old time's sake. Ready. Just pull it out and just go. You ready. However, I can't confidently say that if I hadn't done the work to put it in. So I'm one of those guys that I like for my voice to be on demand, which means whenever I wanted to do something, go. Fast forward, rewind, hit that high note.
Yeah.
It can do that. But again, it don't just get there just because. I didn't just grow this way.
Yeah.
I put in work.
Yeah.
Learned my voice.
Yeah.
Learned what not to do. Learned vocal pedagogy.
Yeah.
What adds to my voice, what takes away from my voice. Learning water is important. Learning and even rehearsing that.
Yeah.
Practicing drinking more water.
Yeah.
Choosing to drink water than the other things.
Yeah.
Choosing not to yell.
Yeah.
Then knowing how when I wake up in the morning, cruise control into allowing the audible to come out of my. I'm not waking up screaming.
Yeah.
I'm not whispering. All of those things are counterproductive to me being able to have my voice on demand. And so for me, I love just telling people, if you don't put in the time, there's no way you're going to get to a place where you are confident. Yeah. I guarantee you every time Usher goes out on that stage, he's confident in everything he does because we know personally the man hours that he puts in.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, any of our greatest performers throughout history, greatest voices in history, we know that they didn't get there. And when we can say that they are amazing, we know, or you should know that it ain't just come just because they woke up. No, they wake up, they go through their regimen that's consistent, that's going to yield results.
Yeah.
The regimen, consistency. The regimen is identifying that I need to do something.
Yeah.
The consistency is the practicing.
Right.
That is going to yield results.
You so smart, bro.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? You really are. There's a reason why you are who you are.
Thank you. See, I practice saying thank you. No, that's real stuff. The biggest thing of today's episode is I know you want to be a celebrity. We know you want to be able to get on stage and win the Grammy. We know you want to be regarded in amongst your peers as dope. We want all of that for you. However, there's no way you're going to get nowhere near those recognitions and any of that if you don't perfect what your gift is. Now, we all come into this world with natural gifts, but that gift has to be nurtured. I think about, I'm a fan of sports, and so we see Steph Curry has come into the NBA and just without a doubt he's the best shooter the game has ever had. Yeah. But if you ask him, man, he's making 1,000 shots a day. Yeah. Not just shooting 1,000. He's making 1,000. You talk about Mamba mentality and Kobe Bryant and all, like, they're, and what I love about those guys and when people tell the story is, even when he was, rest in peace, Kobe was at the top, guys were still saying, we're practicing at 5 a.m. Well, when everybody show up at 5, he's in a full sweat because he started at 3:45.
Yeah. How you rehearse?
Come on, man.
How you rehearse?
You got to master your gift, and you cannot master it if you don't have repetition.
Yeah. And you got to do it like you said. You're thinking about these things as a part of your daily routine. So your rehearsal is all day. Your rehearsal, it's like it's part of your life. You're rehearsing.
Like it's not rehearsing.
Yeah, it's not rehearsing. It's now a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Rehearsal equals lifestyle.
A lot of times people always like, tell me something about Q Parker. He always humming. I'll bust out in a song.
You will sing a sentence in a minute.
But I practice all day.
Yeah.
So that's how I can be like, my voice do this. Because I'm warming up from the moment my eyes open. Yeah. I'm practicing.
I get it.
Because I'm humming something, I'm singing something, I'm in the car on the phone. Yeah. We can't even have a conversation without you triggering a song title and I bust out in a song. Like
you do every time. I've learned to join in and become part of the background vocals.
In, man. But yeah, y'all, it's just no way. So let's talk about some people that we know and some examples of somebody that really goes hard, goes ham in the rehearsal space.
Well, we already said Neo, Usher again. We said him. I wanted to highlight that once I was having a conversation with Jamaica and she was saying how every time he's getting ready for a show, a new show or a new album to start performing that album, he puts himself back through artist development as if he's a new artist for the first time again. Smart. So smart. And you can see it because he's always going to be the epitome of like high-end entertainment. Beyonce, of course, J-Lo. These are people who are rehearsing all the time and their level of rehearsal is, so high that by the time we see them. Janet Jackson, she's almost 60.
On tour right now.
Janet Jackson is someone who I feel like puts in those hours even at 60 something years old. She's still very, very young. So that's a thing.
And then, just even talking about the icon Janet Jackson, like you can't get to being 60 years old, still headlining your own tour without rehearsing. Because one thing that could happen, and we've seen this often too, where somebody will get to a certain place and just rely on their legacy, their hit records.
Yeah, we've seen it happen.
And they don't really put the time into rehearsing anymore. Well, if you are the likes that you just mentioned, like Janet, she's been on 40, 50 major tours.
Yeah.
So she can't do the same thing the same
way
all those times.
For sure.
Which means she has to go in, swipe everything, get a clean slate, get new dancers, new energy, and it's a new show every time you see her, which is still high energy, but we don't get there if she does not practice and rehearse. And so I'm hoping that you guys are hearing us. I'm hoping that you are listening to what we're saying. In order for you to be excellent in anything.
Excellent. We don't want to just be good. We want to be excellent.
This is upper echelon.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen, it's a lot of people. And here's the reality. Everybody is doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
There was a time where you could be isolated to say, I'm a singer or I am a performer.
Yeah, no.
But now everybody
has a platform.
Has the opportunity and platform to do it. What is going to make you stand out? And in a lot of times, you may not be able to out-sing somebody.
Yeah.
You may not be able to outperform somebody. But the time that you put into your craft, it will show. And in a lot of ways, that becomes the difference maker. That becomes a difference maker. You may have more longevity than simply because you've set yourself up by way of how you have rehearsed all the years that you've rehearsed. So big shout out to Janet and those that are still doing it 30 plus years at a high level. And that's really the goal. That's really the goal. We don't want you to come in and treat this industry like a one-off. We want you to be able to have a career, not just I put out a record or, I had a stint in the music.
Yeah.
I had a stint in the industry for a little while. I put out a record,
Funny story, and this is like kind of off topic, on topic. I was at a house party and a friend of mine said, she had brought a friend with her and he was like, oh yeah, I worked in the music business. I worked in the music. I mean, every conversation he kept throwing that in there, like, oh yeah, I worked in the music business. So I'm like, because of course we're sitting around a bunch of entertainers. So I'm just like, fine. You clearly want us to ask you like, what did you work on?
Okay, here goes. I'm gonna give you what you want.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, I worked on some show and I can't remember the show now. And then he said, okay, so what'd you do on the show? He said, oh, I was the playback guy. Oh. Like, well, yeah, you did work in the music business. All right. And no shade to the playback guy. Like, that's what's up. But, that was just a little sidebar, a little funny tidbit. Speaking about other team members who work in the business, some notable ones are one of our favorites, Adam Blackstone, who is MD. Yeah. To the stars. I don't think that you can name an artist he hasn't touched in some way, whether he was their MD, put the band together. Adam is someone who has put in the time. He has put in the work. He has rehearsed. I have worked with him in spaces where he rehearses at a level, again, one of those where you like, am I at a show? Like you there working, but also you're so entertained by the work he's putting into the creative process and the rehearsal process.
And Adam has... This is the Adam Blackstone segment.
This is. Shout out to Adam.
Man, love you, man. He has had an interesting view. So he really can't help but be dope.
Right.
When you think about all of the artists that he has worked with and for, being the MD, helping to steer, and even recently, as I think the end of last year or the top of this year, he released his own album.
Crazy
Legacy Project, something like that. He released it. And we all expect nothing but greatness because he's had an opportunity to watch all of these artists rehearse, practice, trial and error. This works.
Right.
Nah, this don't work. And so the day that he decided that I'm going to do my own album, I can imagine him going in rehearsal and all of these experiences, all of these encounters are just coming into his mind. And so the day he allowed us all to see him as the front man, it was amazing because he's pulling from all of these people and all of their methods and their tactics and just how they operate from a rehearsal standpoint,
while also creating like his own lane. I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Adam is one of the first or only bass player music directors. Am I wrong?
We'd have to
Because I feel like
I
feel like a lot of them are usually play keys. I could be wrong. I
think there are some. I mean, it's hard to just say.
Not all, but it's a rarity from where I'm sitting, but I could be wrong. So if I'm forgetting someone, please forgive me. But I just remember that being a real big thing that was like a big conversation starter about Adam when he was starting to like make a name for himself. It's like, and he's a bass player. You know what I mean? It was he's the MD, but he's also, like that was a thing. And so shout out to Adam for like paving, paving some ways. Some just setting some tones. Another big one who works with Adam a lot. I actually met Adam through DJ Active, who is on tour with Janet now. He's done Diddy. He's on. They both do. That's My Jam. Jimmy Fallon. He's somebody that I've seen. Practice makes perfect. I mean, he's been DJing forever, but he posts where he's practicing. He will post himself like at the turntables. He's still practicing mixes and scratches and coming up with new ways to innovate, DJing. And he's one of, a DJ that's worked with a lot of vocalists. So that's like, you normally see the combo of like rapper and DJ, but when you get a DJ who understands like where to scratch when you're dealing with vocalists, it's very cool. So just in talking about rehearsing, these are two guys that, no, they're not the artists in the front. Well, they both put out albums. Adam, whose album you just mentioned, and DJ Active has an album, but even before then, even in the background, they took time to hone their skill and they took time to rehearse and practice and build. And I think that's huge,
I love when you said hone their skills, because when you rehearse, that's like sometimes it's alone time. That's time where you get to learn about you. And although you have people that can direct and lead you through the rehearsal, there comes a point in time where you still have to go home and put some time in on your own so that you can now be comfortable in every choice you make, in every decision you make. Because I'm one of those people, I say, as a vocalist, I don't want you to get on stage and try something new that you've never.
Please don't do that, even with movement.
Done. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I personally don't think on the stage live is the time to try.
Well, here's I'm gonna add to that, because if you rehearse properly, you will be comfortable enough, because like you said, if you practice like you're performing, then the performance will feel like practice, right? So if you're in the performance and it's feeling like practice, because you've rehearsed so extensively, when you try something new, it's because you know there's space for it. Not because you're just willy-nilly and now everybody's like
willy-nilly is not in the kit. Doing stuff on the fly
is not in the kit. Missing your sound check not in the kit.
To all artists, go to sound check.
So who's somebody we think missed the sound check? We don't know this to be fact, but we think that our friend,
I think our homie Genuine may have
missed the sound check.
Yeah, he may have missed the sound check one day. He missed the walkthrough, maybe.
Did you miss the sound check?
But yo, I'm gonna tell you something though. Shout out to G, man.
No, we love you.
Consummate professional.
Yeah.
Been doing it for years. But he had a performance recently where he jumped from the stage to the speaker. And a lot of times those speakers are really huge and they're solid. Now, I don't know if he just, mistimed it.
He did something maybe he didn't try in rehearsal.
Yeah. He didn't, because we're not falling in rehearsal. That ain't in the kit. We're not falling in rehearsal. Please don't fall in rehearsal.
Ooh, child.
But hold on. So as we're talking about what he did that's not in the kit, I can also, in that same example, identify something that is in the kit. And we talk about it all the time. No matter what happens, the show must go on. And even though he was falling, he was still
singing.
Good, pretty tight.
Yeah. And the signer was doing it too. The signer was up there like signing.
Commit, yo. The signer was falling because G was pulling him down.
Yeah, he was like, because I still got the sign. Hold up.
Signing though.
Yeah. I said the signer, Beyonce Genuine. The signer looked down like, oh, not today. and Genuine was still, you couldn't even see him, and he was still like, is there room?
Yo. So that's like was not in the kit.
Yeah, the fall is hell no.
Hell no.
That ain't in
the kit. But the show must go on, and him continuing to sing. I believe because see he from my school.
Yeah.
If Genuine would have stayed in between those speakers for 6 long minutes, he would have been still singing them notes.
Yeah, he would have. He would have finished that song and everything. One thing we've seen with Genuine is that nothing really shakes him. You know what I mean? Like
nope.
he like you said, he's from your school, so this thing gonna keep moving.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
And what's crazy is I can imagine, and I know that this happened for me and for 112. It was mentioned. I don't care if you fall.
Keep singing.
Keep singing.
Keep singing. I mean,
if the music stop, keep singing.
Yeah, we're going to keep it going.
Somebody missed that note, sing that note.
For dancers, we do we pose. We'll pose or walk off, but we'll pose. Like, we're going to hit the flyest pose, baby, and have that energy going where you just be like giving the audience like, you know what I'm saying? We up here, we doing a thing.
In the back of your mind, you like,
what's going on?
How much longer?
Yeah, how much longer? This wait is long. Then you start looking at your counterparts like, all right, so we walking or we leave, we staying or we posing? What we doing? So you start looking, and then one person will hit a step, and you like, we hitting it.
But you know, though, you can even rehearse the unexpected. What happens if the music stops?
Continue. I always am screaming out, don't stop, don't keep it going. Mm-hmm. Continue, because you never know what's going to happen. So you want to be prepared for anything that happens or could happen.
Man. So, today's tool that we pulled out of the kit is just the importance of rehearsing. Mm-hmm. You're not going to stand out if you're not putting in
If you're not standing in rehearsal.
You're not going to stand out if you're not standing in
rehearsal.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did it first.
Okay, cool. We're a team though. So we did it. But listen. You have to rehearse. You have to practice. Mm-hmm. There's no way you're going to get better at anything if you don't have repetitions of doing the exact same thing. Do it until you've mastered it. Because once you start to master it, then you'll start adding little things, and now you'll be making it to specifically you. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that has gotten the great status or
without rehearsing,
without practicing and rehearsing.
I think our nugget of knowledge today is good rehearsal, because remember, we talked about setting the tone. Good rehearsal is a non-negotiable.
Yeah. You should be, I'm going to give you something practical. You should be rehearsing every day.
Yes.
Just the same way you allot time to do homework, to do chores.
To get on Instagram. Let's just keep it simple.
Search through social media.
Search them rehearsals.
Put time in the day where it's non-negotiable.
Yes.
Make it a priority so everybody around you knows, don't mess with Q right now, y'all, because
he's rehearsing. Yeah.
Rehearsal, last little nugget. And who cares if you mess up in rehearsal? Mess up all day in rehearsal. Yeah. You mess up in rehearsal so you don't mess up in during the performance.
Agreed.
That's my nugget. Rehearse. Fall in love with practicing. And if you are a new artist, I'm gonna give you a challenge. I want you rehearsing at least 4 hours a day. I need 4 hours a day for you to isolate yourself to doing what it is that you are gifted in. So if you are a vocalist, I need you singing at least 4 hours a day. If you are a dancer or performer, get in front of that mirror, and I mean go hard. I mean sweating bullets hard for at least 4 hours minimum. Because if you do that every day, 4 times 7, that's 28 hours a week that you're giving to this gift of yours. And 28 times, however long, you're going to start now being defined as such.
Yeah.
And it's going to show.
Dope.
Our tool for the day, y'all, was rehearsal.
Rehearsal.
Practicing.
Dig in that kit. Pull that tool out. Use it.
Don't be afraid to do the getting ready. Don't be afraid to do the work in getting ready so you can confidently say, I stay ready.
In our comments on YouTube, go to our comments. Tell us, what are you doing in rehearsal? What kind of things do you make a part of your rehearsal regimen? Or tell us how this episode has helped you understand how important it is to rehearse. Maybe you felt like, I'm gifted, I don't have to rehearse. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to tell us how now you're going to change that up. So make sure you go in our comments. Tell us about your rehearsal process, what you're doing, what you're not doing, what you want to add to, all of that. We love to hear from you.
Share it, like it, all of that good stuff, man. But this has been That R&B Kit. I am Q Parker.
I am Sakina.
Where we walk it,
we talk it,
we live it,
and we stay carrying.
That R&B Kit.
Well.
Well.
You already know.
See y'all next time.
What it is.
Walking, talking, living, and we carry it. That R&B Kit. Everywhere.